Hey everybody, welcome back to Fitness Friday. I'm really excited to join you guys and be back this week. It's been a couple weeks for me. We actually showed a replay last week and I've been sick for a couple weeks. So it's kind of affected a lot of things in my life and getting my kids back to school. I know a lot of you guys are dealing with that. But kids are back in school, kids are happy. So let's get started for Fitness Friday. And I'm going to join I'm going to have, of course, my friend Coach Idris join me today. So I'm going to play his intro. So here you go. And let me introduce you to my friend Coach Idris. He is a National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer with 25 years experience. Idris specializes in women's fitness through NASM. He is a nutritional counselor, certified EMT, and LVN. He has worked helping hundreds of clients from high school to professional athletes and housewives to CEOs of companies to achieve their weight loss and fitness goals. He is the former 2002 Mr. USA bodybuilding champion with 20 years of competition experience. He's also an Air Force military veteran where he served in Desert Storm as a combat medic. Everybody help me welcome my friend, Coach Idris.
Woohoo! Listen to the crowd. Listen, do you hear that crowd? You got to give me one of those sound boxes.
Right? I'm going to do that. I might add that on there. Just to pump us up a little bit. I added the music on because I'm such a music person. Like it gets me in the mood, right? Like gets me all picked up.
I think Bailey might be able to join us. She's like, will it see me or just over the phone? Podcast. This isn't the 60s, it's only radio.
Yeah.
Or 30s. What's that? 30s? 30s.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Before my time, that's for sure. Before your time.
Yeah, before my time too, I hope.
This may be a harder conversation if it was during your time.
Exactly. It started out great till we got to that.
Right.
Pre-TV.
Having, your grandkids try to help you back on.
Yeah, pre-TV.
Hey, I did have a black and white TV when I was younger, though, actually.
Yeah. Didn't we? Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah. Wow. That's kind of... Wow. That was kind of late in the game.
Yeah. I mean, that was how we had our own TVs, right? Because color TVs were expensive back then, and they were like the big boxes, right? So...
Let me see. Because you're talking the 90s, right?
Yeah. So probably late 80s, early 90s. I had a little box antenna, black and white.
Late 80s. Okay. Yeah.
It was handed down to me from all my siblings, right? I'm the youngest of 6, so I got all of their fun
you get the
stuff.
tiny TV with the big magnifying glass in front of it.
Yep.
So you can see it. It's not, they have TVs like that. I mean, the TV itself is like the size of this, but they had a magnifying glass that was off of it that kind of made it bigger to watch.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I had one of those.
I didn't have one of those either. I did have a hanger sticking out of the back of my TV trying to get reception.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I always think about, those small things that we used to have to deal with when we were younger.
Yeah,
right?
we used to make our little sister, take it over there. Okay, stay right there. Don't move.
Yep.
I can't see the TV. It's okay. I'll tell you what's happening.
Oh, it looks like Bailey's here.
Oh, good.
Add her on. Give me a thumbs up, Bailey, if you're ready to join us. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Woo.
This
How are y'all?
This is the most energetic person on the planet right here. Even on low carbs, she can do this.
I love it.
Little weeks, then it might be a different story.
So we're going to have you on because she wanted to kind of talk about last weekend. So I was thinking maybe it's coming from me. It's kind of, I can go into it a little bit, but I'd like for you to kind of talk about your first experience at a show and what you saw and what you're looking forward to. But go ahead, Shira, you lead it off.
So actually, I'm kind of just interested for all of our viewers because they've never met you before. Kind of tell us who you are, what your journey is, and how you know Idris.
For sure. I met Idris at the VA. So I'm very happy that, just happened to meet him. We were talking. I was doing a lot of CrossFit at the time, and we were talking, and I said, I haven't really hit my goals here or here. And he asked me about my nutrition, and I told him the good old I'm counting my macros thing. And he's like, oh, well, how's that working for you? But not very great, it turned out. So we met up, and then he just kind of really got an idea of where I wanted to be, kind of what I wanted my physique to really look like, because I've always liked being active. I like working out, but I never really had the look that I wanted. And so working with him, he just got my diet right, even just how we're doing as far as the different workouts and paying attention to form and things like that. So it's definitely benefited me more than I ever have before. So it's been great. There's, of course, up and downs, but I think it's awesome.
Yeah, that's killer. I love that.
Yeah, the show was fun too, seeing just I'm very new into the whole bodybuilding thing. So I ask Idris, how many questions a day, probably of the smallest things.
I'm like,
All day.
chill out. I gotta work on my posing. Chill out.
Yeah, he's like, slow down. I'm like, well, what about this? Like, can I wear my hair in a ponytail? Like, nobody had their hair in a ponytail. Am I allowed to do that?
I gotta move my hair.
Yeah, like, what am I supposed to do here? What do I do with this? And so it was fun though, seeing, and it definitely like pumped me up to actually seeing it and then being like, okay, I can do this. Like, okay, what makes this person different than me? Just the will to get up in the morning and go, do some cardio, or just making the decision every single meal that this is going to be my 4 ounces of chicken and my 2 cups of vegetables, just staying with it every single meal, every single day, every single
How
work.
did we get there?
Me being stubborn.
I've heard a little bit about you, Bailey, actually. He talks about you a lot. And so I'm so excited that I actually get to have a chat with you today. But
Yeah.
sure.
Well, because she's not different than anyone else.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks they're so different. I've been doing this forever. I was telling your sister the other day, I was talking to her and just interviewing her to start working with it.
Uh-huh.
And I put my pencil down, and she was nice. I started talking. She was like, "What?" I go, "Well," I said, "I don't even know why I keep writing." Well, where did Bailey go? Bailey, you went somewhere.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened.
All right. But I'm writing down. I just stopped, and she goes, "Well," I go, "I don't know why I do this. I should just write down name, age, and new number, because all of y'all say the same thing." Like everything else is the same. I'm overweight. I can't lose weight. I tried dieting. I did this and that. It's the same story. I work out, no progress. And it's like, now how I deal with you is different, obviously, but the story's all the same. So when she was like sweating me about the show, and I'm like, could you just take care of your next meal? Because if you don't do the next meal, we ain't never getting to the show. Exactly. And that's what people do, is they take too much of a chunk, and it's too daunting to think about. I'm right now the way I look, and I got to look like that, and I've never done it before. I can't even lose 5 pounds, but I'm supposed to look like that. and I know how that feels because I went through the same thing. So that's why I'm always like, if y'all just did what I freaking said and just changed your mindset instead of. People fight to not change their mind. They don't realize this, but they actually try not to change it because they didn't think this way before, and now they do. So if you didn't think this way before and now you do, that means you can actually go back to the way you used to think. But people only think I think they see like it's only one way you can go. Like now I look at life like people who don't trust anybody. I'm like, were you always that way? No. Okay, so you changed. Change back. Stop trusting everybody and be selective on who you trust. But don't sit there where you can't trust anybody. That makes no sense. That means you're not trustworthy. Yeah. If you really believe no one's trustworthy, that means you're not.
Well, I think it's the whole mindset that you've had your whole life, right? And all of that stuff that's coming at you. And it's very hard. Like, even when I started my journey with you, Idris, like, I had to just shut out everything I ever learned before because it didn't work, right? Like, I wasn't getting the results.
I
And
went through the same thing.
that's the
I
cycle
mean,
that we
the
get
way your
stuck
parents teach
in.
you how to do this, the way, school teaches you, and then you get older and you're like, none of that really works.
Yeah.
So once you realize it doesn't work, why are you reluctant to change? I mean, that's the part that I'll change in a heart. You prove to me this works, I'm done.
Yes.
Like, I don't care about nothing but the results. I don't care how I feel about none of it, to be honest with you, because I know once I get the results, I'm gonna be pretty happy. I'm gonna be happy with that.
It's
So
easier
let me just somehow get over there.
once you see results and you see, okay, this is starting to look different or this is fitting different, even if the number on the scale isn't moving, seeing changes in your body every day, if not every week, you know that something's going right. Like, I noticed within 6 days, I was like, okay, I lost 10 pounds in 6 days. Like, clearly that was just me
Oh, when
eating.
we first started?
Yeah, like first
Yeah.
start, like just doing whatever I wanted, working out, thinking, oh, well, mass moves mass. That's one of the things that in weightlifting or I should say like Olympic lifting more so that they tell us all the time, mass moves mass, mass moves mass. So you think like, oh, I need to be bigger. I need to eat more. I need to not necessarily do cardio. I just need to lift heavy and da 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 da. And when those things don't work, that was kind of where I was at when I met Idris. It's like, okay, well, where do I go from here? Because I've been doing this for so long and nothing's really happening. So it is. I think it's just a matter of being willing to have that change too.
And also, you got to a lot of stuff you heard is wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just wrong. And nobody's willing to just accept that sometimes the information is bad. Like, I've never, ever had a stumble and stayed on the floor. I've never had a plateau and accepted the plateau. I was like, I did the video the other day. When you make mistakes, all it means is you don't know enough yet. So learn more and you won't make that mistake again. So I did that that's how anybody who becomes a professional anything has to do that. Because you fail too many. A baseball player fails 2 out of 3 times he goes to the plate and he can be in the major leagues. Okay. You can bat 300. You bat 300, you're in the major league. You bat 270 something, you're in the major leagues. That's failing 2 out of 3 times at the plate. So you can't be discouraged because of the last at bat. You can't ever, you can't do that. A shooter in basketball can't be discouraged because he misses. Yeah, like my daughter went through that. I remember her, she got into a certain age and she was like always one of the best on the team. And she got to the point where she didn't want to make a mistake. She didn't want to lose it for the team. And I was like, yeah, but they also, half these girls can't even reach the rim. Like, you're the only one that can shoot it. She was the only one that could shoot a 3-pointer at the time. She's the only one that could actually reach it. She was strong enough. She was one of the best players on the team, but she didn't want to lose it for the team. So a lot of times she would she would freak out about, losing. And one time she would cry, right? And her mother was a reserve on the Olympic swim team. So she has a father that's me and a mother like that. She didn't have a shot. There was no crying in baseball. So her mother calls me. She was like, you need to talk with your daughter. She's over here crying. I ain't putting up with that. So I had to tell the coach, look, tell her that you'll tell her when to shoot. So if she misses, it's on you, not on her.
Yeah, that anxiety actually is a huge deal. And I think that's what we all deal with when we go through this, right? Because we are so worried we're going to fail at it again that sometimes it's easier to paralyze ourselves than to try again.
And failure just means you don't know. So like you're reading these, like mass moves mass. Yeah, that's true. But mass is also size. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to be bigger.
No.
And as you notice, you're stronger now than you ever have been.
Stronger than I've been in my entire life.
And you're 20 pounds, almost 25 pounds less than we first met. So, and you're going to get stronger.
It's exciting.
You're going to get strong. You're not even as strong. You're not even as strong as you're going to be. That's what's so funny. You're not even there.
You're right.
So a lot of people don't understand, like, the process to get there. You're not supposed to, like a lot of people, I'm gonna lose weight first and I'm gonna lift weights. That's the worst idea ever, because all you do is lose muscle right along with it. So your body fat percentage goes up, even though your weight goes down, because it's a percentage of your body that's fat. And now more of it is fat because you just lost a bunch of muscle. So just because you weigh light, just because you don't weigh more, doesn't mean your body fat can't go up.
Yeah.
Because it's really about how much muscle mass you have. It's a percentage. People don't realize it's a percentage. It's not 13 pounds of fat. It's 13% of you is fat. Right. So you could drop down 120 and your body fat go up to 30 from 25 just by losing muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all of this is stuff that, you know, if somebody doesn't tell you, you're not going to read a lot of this. You're not going to even look it up, because why would you look up, well, if I lose weight, you know, that's not a question that you're just going to put into Google and they're going to spit out that answer I just gave you.
You just get
they might spit out some science, but you're going to have to put all the pieces together, and it's not going to happen. So you got to go to people who know, but it's just a lot of bad information.
Yeah, that's why I actually love being able to meet you, because I am a strong believer in following the masters, right? I always follow people who have done it right. Like, I see the way that their routine is, and I know I can achieve what they have if I have that same routine, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've always loved is, it's like, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your fitness level to look like? Where do you want your relationships to be like? If you see somebody and you model yourself after what their schedule is, what they do, the things that they read, the things that they surround themselves with, it changes your whole world. And being able to adapt to those different habits, different things that these masters actually do.
That's what all of those people that you see at the show, like when you go, and I kept telling her, I was like, I said, trust me, it's going to motivate the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that? I was like, watch.
Yeah,
I
want to hear about this.
She's like, I'm gonna get scared. I go, no, you're not.
It's intimidating, like just seeing these people just like, you know, like muscle mass, like, man, I can't wait to be there one day type of feeling. He's like, no, it's just gonna like light a fire under you and be like, oh, you can do it, but I'm gonna do it
well,
too.
because you look up there and you're like, I could beat him.
Yeah, I'm like, I can do that. Let's do it.
And I said the same thing. I was like, if he can do it, why can't I do it?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand. These were regular people just like you who decided to do this. They didn't. It wasn't like we're born for this. No, this is something that you just. And some people have genetics for it to be really good at it. I mean, everybody's not going to be great. Everybody's not going to be a pro. But you can still go up there and be your best, your absolute best. And that's what I told her. I said, you don't understand, no matter what you play, because everybody's always worried about winning, right? Am I going to win? Am I going to win? I'm like, bodybuilding is one of those things where whoever shows up, and if they show up right, I won a few shows. I won a handful of shows, but I didn't win them all. And it's because I wasn't always the best one there. I could have won them all, but I didn't always come in like the other guy. Or the other guy I was early in my career. He had more. He had 2-3 more years of lifting weights behind him than I did. He was more balanced. He was more symmetrical. You know, so I never tell people you're going to win. What I tell them is you're going to be your best, the best you've ever looked, and you're going to learn a whole lot on the way there. Like, what are you learning about what are you learning about friends and that kind of stuff?
That's a big
question. Actually, I'm super excited to hear about this, because he's told me a little bit about your journey with that. And that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with. So, yeah.
I feel like you have to be comfortable and just confident and strong enough to just say no. Honestly, I know that sounds silly, but I mean, I'm young too. I'm 27. My friends, I don't have kids yet. A lot of my friends don't have kids yet. So yes, everyone likes to go to the lake and go on the boat and go out to the drinking and brunch and mimosas and all these things. And now I take my meals everywhere and I don't drink anymore because I hold on to too much water weight, something that we figured out in my process of playing with everything. So I don't drink. Yeah, I take all my meals. I'm not going to eat sodium and carbs and sugar and do all those things. So I have had to remove myself from a lot of things. I mean, in the beginning, it was especially hard because when I think it was more internally me battling with food is not going to control me. I am going to control it, and I'm going to control what I put in my body. But it's still very hard. Like, and it's almost breaking a habit. Like when we go out to eat and they bring chips and salsa, at one point I had just reached over and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're not doing, like, you're not eating that. And so it's almost just breaking the habits, like breaking into that subconscious. And then I feel like once you have that, then you're strong enough to be around other people and say, no, I'm not going to drink. You're not going to peer pressure me. You know what? I'll DD, y'all drink, like just kind of changing the narrative and switching things, because it's hard when now my priorities don't align with my friends or my group's priorities. And so it does make things difficult. But I think that, you can tell who's your good friend and who's not, because the ones who are good are sticking around. I have buddies who are like, hey, I bought a no sodium seasoning so that whenever you bring chicken, we can have a seasoning for you. So I think it's also finding the good friends that are going to support you and help you through it, rather than the ones that are like trying to tempt you, like, oh no, eat this potato, you need this French fry. Like, no, I said no, I don't want it. So it's just, I think, trying to differentiate between the two at this point, but very much a learning process.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge deal. And I think that's something that people don't realize is sometimes you have to share your journey with your friends and say, hey, this is where I'm at, and I don't want it to be peer pressured. And I would like to keep you as a friend, but this is my life and this is what I want for myself. And I've had to have that conversation with a few friends, and I found that really they stand beside me. They stand behind me on my goals. And a lot of them in the beginning were doing that. We're like, oh, look at what I'm eating, right? Yeah. I had to talk with Idris about this too, because my kids were doing that to me like all the time. And I was like, finally, I'm like, stop teasing me about the food I'm eating.
And y'all know I get pissed off when people do that. I don't like that at all.
And I do think it's their way to kind of try and relate and be like, hardy har har. But in the same aspect, it's like, I'm already in my head telling myself, like, don't you eat that. Like, I don't need you sitting there flaunting it at the same time either. So I think like verbalizing things.
I don't know what it is. I don't think it's them trying to understand you, because it's mean.
It is mean, but
so I don't think it's them trying to understand. I'm still trying to figure that one out, because you wouldn't do that with an alcoholic.
No. But people
you wouldn't do that with a junkie.
Yeah.
But you do it with food, which is worse, because you got to eat. You ain't got to do drugs. You ain't got to drink alcohol. So no. And they know what they're doing. Now the kids are a little different. Kids are, look what I can have. They do that anyway. I got some ice cream. And you can have none.
What's awesome though is I've been sharing my journey with them. And when I had that conversation and I said, hey, do not make fun of me for everything that I'm eating, because this is really hard for me to do. And I had that talk with them. And now 2 of my kids are actually trying to eat a lot more healthier, which is awesome, right? And so they saw that it was like a real thing for me and not just a game. And I think that changed their whole way of seeing what I was going through. And one of the reasons why I felt like I had to have that conversation is because I'm on a bodybuilding page actually. And a lot of the feedback that I got back was that they did not have any support from their family, and that their families were normal. Very hard.
That's very normal.
So I knew I wanted
nuts, but it's normal. That's why I told you when we first started, and I told you and I tell everybody. I tell all of you, not the guys, just the women. I tell them all. No, that's not true. That's not true. Happens to the guys too. I've had
it's true, general and aspect.
I've had men where their guy friends are like, oh, what you gonna do? Go to the gym again? Like I've had that with men, believe it or not. So I don't understand it. Like that's why I get pissed off when people say, oh, this is my friend. I'm like, doesn't sound like one. Friends don't do that. And a lot of them don't know what they're doing. So like what you said, you got to go, hey, let me talk to you for a second. We need to chit chat real quick.
Yeah.
And you need to break it down. And usually if they actually don't know what they're doing, because I don't think a lot of them know that their jealousy is what's coming out. It's jealousy. Yeah. It's just straight up. You're doing something I know I should be doing, and I just ain't ready to do it. So I'm just going to get you to do it. Because if you do it, I feel better. I feel better about me eating it because no one should care. Think about that. You know, no one will. If I eat pizza, they look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm the only one here that should be eating this shit. Like, none of y'all should be eating it.
You know how crazy that is nobody watches what you eat until you're eating healthy, and then you're like, oh, like I was bad the other night. I went to a concert and my husband had some garlic fries, and I'm like stealing some because I haven't had garlic fries in like
these are
months, so I stole some, and I'm like, everybody's watching me. Maybe it's all in my own head. I don't know, but you know, there's some.
When you cheat, I told you when I used to compete, like I would like go to like a 7-Eleven or some shit like at midnight and like hide behind the store and eat. I'm like, the only person knows you shouldn't be eating this is you. And you're trying to hide from yourself. I'm turning all the mirrors. I'm putting the outside mirrors in. Turning it
Oh no.
So Bailey, when is your competition? What is your schedule? And where are you at in your routine? Like, I want to kind of know about like what your journey is, when your competition date is, and what you thought of the one that you just went to. So
yeah, so I guess Idris, we're planning, I want to say it's December, correct?
December 10th, I think.
December 10th. But kind of our goal at the moment is to try and make me like pretty well stage ready like November, so that we can really see my frame, see what else needs to be worked on, balance everything like that. I don't know what my body's going to look like. I'm still just trying to look like here.
Well, when you get ready for a contest, if you don't get them, if you're not ready early, you're always wondering what the final product's going to look like. And you don't want to go into the week of the show still chasing body fat. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You want the body fat off early, and you want to be able to just look. Because what is to take the body fat off, you have to go into a deficit. Once your fat is off and you're peeing and everything is good, you want to eat. And then you feel good. You get on stage feeling good because you're not starving going in. You're actually eating up going in. And so that's why you want to get, most amateurs don't do that. They don't even know to do that. Pros know to do that. We're already a month before the show. And then we walk into the show eating and feeling good. Most people, they diet and then walk in the store and they want a carb load. Like everybody wants to carb load because you go 0 carbs for so long. Can I carb load? No, you can't. Your body fat you got to be you got to be so low on your body fat and so dry in order to carb load and it actually do something for you. So I've had people where their first show and we couldn't get everything off. So I was like, no carb loading, just walk on stage like that. And they'll do great. But you gotta know how to do that. You gotta have an eye for that. It's so sensitive. Like you said earlier, you're starting to notice, you start to notice.
Oh yeah.
After you eat and you see your body change while you're eating. Like when you get lean, it's crazy cool. It's crazy. Like you work out and you just see everything just fill out. And when you go home, your abs, you wake up in the morning, every morning's like Christmas. For like the last 4 weeks. I'm serious, because you pee, all your water comes off at night. So you wake up in the morning with a washboard freaking 6-pack. You're like, I like this, every morning. And then about 3 hours later, you're flat and tired. And
yeah.
But
I don't know what
cool.
The end goal is going to look like. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where we're at, come November even, and what we do from there. But I'm excited for the show after seeing this one. And this was kind of a conversation that him and I had as well, is seeing all the different kind of levels as far as like the bikini, like wellness and physique, bodybuilding, all of that. I definitely realized the type of human I am. I think I want to go more towards like a physique body that I think I really appreciated, I should say, just seeing thicker muscle, more like I liked the posing better. If I'm going to work that hard, I'm going to try and bust every pose I can out there. Okay. Not like a front and a back. I'm trying to be like, flex this, flex that, I want to be all over the place. So I'm going to be proud of my muscles. So I'm like, I want to show them off more. So I just need to big muscles so I can.
She's like, I was looking at the wellness. They only do 2 poses. I want to do that.
And then I thought,
And then she goes, "Dad, they got to wear the shoes. I don't want to wear those shoes."
yeah, I'm like, they got high heels on. The other girls get to come out barefoot. Like, I want to be barefoot. So I learned a lot.
So you don't have to actually pick which one you're going into quite yet. You can wait till
No, you have to.
closer. Oh, you do?
No,
Yeah.
because all of those are different body fats.
Yeah.
Like she has to because of what she's doing, we have to show more muscle. So she has to get leaner for it. Like if you're doing like bikini, you don't have to be that lean. She can do bikini right now.
I don't want to do that.
I'm sorry. If I just pulled her water and she could do bikini almost right now. Like she has detail in her back. She has veins. She got all kind of cool stuff going on in her body right now.
Like big and lean.
She'll come in. She's like, look, there's a vein.
Yeah, I'm like, look at this.
Wait a second, it was there a couple of minutes ago.
I know how that goes. In the morning, I'm like, man, I can see my six pack, and then by midday, I'm all, where'd it go?
Where'd it go?
Like,
Where'd it go? It was in there. It's in my shirt somewhere. You're like doing this.
Yeah, it's fun though. I do love it. I enjoy it. It's hard, but I really enjoy it. It's definitely become more of a passion. And so I feel like if I'm going to be addicted to this, I mean, I'm sure there's worse things I could be addicted to.
Oh, there's a lot worse things. That's kind of but people would say that. They would talk about someone who like, don't get too, what's the word? Not addicted, but
like obsessed almost.
Obsessed, that's the word. People like women who would say this to other women. Well, she's getting obsessed. And I'm like, well, she could be obsessed at the cake table or at the chicken table. Like, because people who get obsessed are obsessive. They're going to be, you can't stop them from doing that. Like I don't really obsess over anything. Nothing. Like I can just be like, I'm cool. Like I can do that anywhere. Some people can't do that and they can't do it anywhere. So they need to take them to a positive place to be obsessed. Take your obsession somewhere that's good so that when you do that obsession thing, your life is better because of it, not worse because of it.
Yeah.
That's what they do at the Betty. I worked a little bit with the Betty Ford Clinic in Palm Springs, and that's what I learned working with them. That's what they do with every person that comes in there. They get them in the gym, and they try to replace that addiction for a healthy addiction because they're going to be addicted to something. You got to pick a healthy one.
Yeah, and the weird thing about addictions is it can be something even simple as like getting home from work and sitting and watching TV for an hour, right? Like people don't realize that those habits are weirdly addictions that can be replaced with something else, right?
So well, they're normal.
Yeah,
Jordan Peterson said that. He goes, do you realize that the stuff that you do on autopilot, like brush your teeth, wash your face, just the autopilot stuff, takes up 50% of your life. And you don't even think about it. He goes, think about that. He goes, half of your life, you don't even think about. You don't pay attention to it. He goes, and people call it the small things, but it's actually 50% of it. The biggest thing you do in your life is your normal habit stuff. Isn't it crazy? So what are those habits? Are they good ones? Are they bad ones? So it's really interesting how most people, and I didn't know it until he said that. I was like, damn, he's right. He goes, we put no thought into it. That's why people have these bad habits. It's because they develop them and they never stop to go, this is a bad habit. Why? I need to not do this. They just say, oh, well, my mother raised me this way. And I'm like, yeah, my father raised me to crack safes, but I don't do it. You know? You tell me to rob banks, don't mean I should be doing it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, your parents told you to do that? You still doing it? You haven't quite realized it's not a good idea. But they don't want to change it. They just don't. I don't know why they don't want to, but they just don't. Because it's making them miserable. You look at that show. The reason I like people doing shows is because it'll take you places there's nothing like restricting your food. Nothing. Controlling your food.
I really feel I am 100% of a believer that it gets so much easier.
Well, the thing that makes it easier is the lifting. The reason that lifting weight is so important when it comes to weight loss is more than just speeding up your metabolism, building bone density, all the, minimizing Alzheimer's. I can go on and on and on and on. But the one thing that no one really talks about
Uh-oh. I think you froze.
I was like, wait a minute, is everyone frozen?
Idris, come back to us. I think you're frozen.
Don't go.
Oh,
I hope we don't go bye-bye.
Okay.
there you go. There you
go. How many things have you experienced in the weight room that you can't believe you did?
As far as
weightlifting, how many things since we've been lifting weights have you cannot believe you're lifting that kind of weight or those kind of reps?
Hey. It's like an everyday occurrence.
See, so when you start to do stuff you never thought you could do, the diet becomes something that you can do, because the diet is hard too. But years ago, but I did it over there. I did 6 plates on the leg press. I can't say no to this. I did that. I can't do this. And you start to go, and that's what happened to me. I was like, if I can do that, I can do this. And I just started taking that mentality over here of no quitting over here. That's all I did. I didn't do anything different. I just took what worked.
Oh.
No, you're frozen again. You're going to come back to us, Idris.
I don't know if that's me or not. Is
Oh,
it raining? Is it raining?
You're back again.
Look good out there early. Yeah, it is me. It is me. Something's going on out here. But that's what the competition is about. It's not about winning. It's I wanted you to be able to learn how to say no,
Mm-hmm.
get in the best shape that you've ever been in your life.
Heck yeah.
And then look in the mirror and be proud that you did. Yeah, people like, oh, Idris, I told you what to do. You actually had to do it. So you start to realize I'm pretty badass. I'm all right. And that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt after my first show. Huh?
So I listen to you more than I listen to most people, though. I'm like, okay, fine.
Well, okay.
I'm like, do I have to?
But that's why that's why diet is getting easier, because you're just mentally tougher, just period. And you're going to see it in other walks of life too. You're going to see it at work. You're going to see it in your relationships. You're going to see it everywhere. It ain't going to just stop there. It's going to go everywhere.
That's what I love about it all, is that it actually plays into so many aspects of our life, because once you understand that you can control what you put in your mouth, and what you put in your mouth makes different results in your body, then all of a sudden you have this different understanding that the things that I choose to have as habits in my life, or even for work and relationships, those things are all going to play in and have results. And so it makes you kind of change the way that you thought about things in your life, and realizing how much control you actually have. And that's the one thing that I love about fitness, is that you can actually see those results a lot faster than maybe like when you're doing those things for a relationship or things like that. It may take a little bit of like self-reflection to maybe see how that works in those other aspects. But once you realize that you can have that and you control your own life, it's such an amazing, freeing feeling that I don't think a lot of people realize. And it all has to do with ourselves and what we want for ourselves.
What we're capable of doing.
Say it again.
I said, and what we're capable of doing that we don't even realize.
Yeah.
That's the whole, everybody I try to get to do a show, that's the only reason I'm doing it. It has nothing to do with the show. It has absolutely to do with the show.
Fine.
It has 100% to do with building self-esteem, building confidence.
I'd still like
learning that no matter what, I can say no whenever the hell I want to.
Yeah.
I can do things 95% of the people around me cannot do. Just say no to something that I want. Just say no to something you really, really want. Most people can't do it.
For many women,
I like that. I actually like that. I was like, you know what? This is pretty cool. This is pretty powerful. And I noticed that when I was 20. I was 22 when I got into it. And I remember like it was yesterday. I was like, man, if I could do that, I could do anything. And that was a long time ago. But that's all.
Nah.
But it also came into play when I had my injury and I couldn't get up. It came into play. I was also going, okay, you may be beat up, but you've done some pretty badass stuff before. You can beat this too. And that's how I got up from all of that. So when you go into the gym and you challenge yourself constantly, every week, every day to be better, and then you do it with food, I'm telling you, man, it turns you into a beast. It turns people into beasts. And that's why there's not that many beasts out there. There really ain't a lot of people out there that you look at and be like, you know what? You may look at something that they did physically, but then you look at their personal life and it's a wreck. They're not taking that information over here. But when you see somebody that's doing it all, it's pretty impressive. And a very small amount of people are doing it all.
True.
So that's really what, like watching you after the show and just listening to her talk was like, it worked.
Well, I think you understand that you can have that, right? Like all of a sudden you're like looking up at these people and you're thinking, that's going to be me and I'm ready for it. And I'm ready to take the challenge. So like, I love hearing that from you because for me, like, I don't know that I can
get her. I'm trying to get, she's next, Bailey.
Do it. I did tell them, I'm like, I am nervous about being like half naked up on a stage. That's why I feel like if I didn't have to wear high heels, it would like lessen the blow a little bit. Like,
well,
be unfair.
also when you're backstage and there's 100 other girls, that kind of some of those jitters kind of go away when there's other people. And then usually when you're on stage with other people. There are some, as you saw, sometimes you're by yourself, but I remember my first time, and I was nervous the other day. I'm always nervous going on stage. I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Here goes.
Huh?
Here goes nothing.
Here goes nothing. Either I'm gonna do great or I'm not.
You know, it's with everything that you do in your life, you just have to. A lot of people are saying, you know, I wish I had the confidence to do this. I wish I could do that. And the one thing that I always tell people is I'm like, confidence is built upon action. You don't get your confidence until you put the action out there. And all of a sudden you realize, I can do this and it's reachable, right? And a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, some of the scariest things I've done in my life, and people are always like, "Oh, Shri, you're so confident," and I'm like, "Oh, I am. I didn't know I was, you know." But it's because I had to put myself out there. I had to take action to make it happen first, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Hell yeah, I can do this," you know?
Yeah, that's so true. You can't. How are you going to get confident at something you never do? You can't. Like how you like. That's why when she was like always like Idris, I'm like, I got this. Don't worry about it. You haven't done this, but I have. Because there's so much information that she doesn't even understand. Like, do you realize if I told you everything that I might do, you'd think your head would blow off? Like, just because I don't even know what we're gonna do next week. Because as you are both, you don't notice as much as she does, Shri, but it changes every week. I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know what we're gonna be doing next week. Because your body tells me what we're gonna do, what you look like, your energy. Are you tired? What I ask you? Are you tired? Are you peeing? Are you tired? That dictates what we do. My whole list of questions, you know, when's your menstrual? All that stuff. Then I go, okay, well, you're just starting your menstrual. Okay, well, I can't really judge your weight off of this. You know what I'm saying? So I've had clients with pacemakers. And I'm like, okay, well, a pacemaker's lying about the heart rate because it's controlling the heart rate. So how do I tell a person with a pacemaker when the cardio is high enough? Think about that. Can't go by their heart rate, like I tell y'all. So I got to tell them to go by their breathing. So I got to talk about their breathing. If you're breathing a certain way, you're hyperventilating, you're around 160, or depending on how good a shape you're in. But most people, like you two, just on a regular, just in good health, you're going to hyperventilate around 25, maybe your heart rate will be 165, 170. It'll be one of those. But if it's more of a just deep breathing, that's more like 140 for y'all. For me, 140s hyperventilating, 130s like that.
Whatever.
It is. Because I weigh more than y'all. I weigh like 100 pounds more than y'all.
I thought you were trying to be exaggerating.
No, I'm saying like my heart rate, I'm hyperventilating less at a whole lower heart rate than y'all.
He's like, when I hit 90, man, I was really out.
No. I'm saying because of my weight, I have to consider my weight. So my heart rate, most men I put at 140 to get their fat burning, women 160, 165. Because you're a little smaller. We have bigger lungs, bigger hearts. So it gets there faster. So but there's a lot of reasons for all this.
So Bailey, when you right now, so you're 27, you said, right? Okay, so in your whole life, have you ever been at this fitness level up to this point? Like back in high school, back when you were younger, you know, most people are like, oh, I want to go back to the way I looked in high school. But right now, can you say that you are in the best physical shape that you've ever been in?
Yeah, 110%. Because I've never like been severely overweight. I've never, I've played in high school, I played volleyball, soccer, and I ran track. And even then, like I may have been skinnier, but I was not strong. I've never had shoulders. I've never had biceps. I've never had a tricep. Like there's just so many things about my body now physically that have never ever been a thing for me. Like the rear delt, like nothing. I've never had any of that. Because when I started working with Idris, I had been doing CrossFit for like a year and a half.
I was in CrossFit too, so I know how that is. So that's why I've loved hearing about your journey, because I feel like it actually is so closely related.
Yeah, and it was a lot. So I was counting macros. I was eating way too much. And then even at that, like, was I getting a little bit stronger? I mean, maybe in a year and a half, I would hope so, but I still had no definition. I was bigger than I was when I even started it. So I was just weird, So I too, just when meeting Idris, just figuring out what did and didn't work for my body, that took us like 6 months in itself of just this diet for this long, get to here, and then we're going to switch it to this for this long, and then get to here, and then for here to here. So it's a process. It's definitely just a growing cycle of things, but where I am now is definitely the best shape I've been in my entire life, for sure.
I love asking that question, because I think a lot of times, like, we think in our lives that the older we get, the less we're going to look like we want to look, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older than you, so I'm gonna be turning 40 in January.
What?
But
40.
Thanks. But the crazy thing is this has been an awesome journey for me, because I knew that I wanted to have definition in my body before I turned 40. And it's always been something that I wanted, but I didn't really believe that I could actually put in the work to do it. And there's always that piece in the back of your mind that you're kind of like, well, is my body even capable of doing that?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of things that stop people is just that thought in the back of their mind that, oh, my body can't achieve that, right? Because it never has.
It's never looked at this. I'm just not meant to have a tricep, like just thoughts.
Yeah. But once you find it, Bailey, you can like tell me, like, you're probably like me, and you're in the gym and you find that muscle that you never had before, and you're like, whoa, what is this?
Whoa.
This is happening right now, right?
I literally at the gym yesterday. I came back from the bathroom. I'm like, Idris, look at my ab now. I'm like all stoked about it. I'm like, that's never been there before.
I love it.
You know what? A lot of people, a lot of women talk about high school. It's really funny. People don't realize what they're saying. But I want to look at high school. I'm like, first of all, you didn't work out. You were just a child. You didn't. You were in the process of developing. You weren't even full grown. you were in the process of developing, and because you're out of shape, what it is everybody goes back to the last time they remember being okay, whenever that is, whether it's high school or it's the 20s, or they just go back to where they like themselves the most. But at the time, they didn't. When they were living it, they were complaining about their bodies. But now that they're way more out of shape than they were then, now it's like, well, I'll take that now. Sure, I'll take that. I'll just take that. But it's not a lifting weight, regimented diet look. It's just the way you just happen to look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, and so But Cindy wanted to do that. When I was training Cindy, I've been training Cindy since 2000, pretty much. She did the same thing. She was like, I want to be 135. And I was like, I don't think you realize what 135 is going to, it's not, you're not going to want 135. She had to lose weight for a wedding. She was like 155, 160, and we had to get her down. I said, you're going to like 128. You're not going to like 135, like you remember. Like you remember. Because she was like, she remembered. We got down to 135. I go, well, you good? She was like, nope. We got to 128. She got married. So everybody, when you lift weights, it's a different look when you get down there. It's different. It's smaller. You're smaller. You're actually smaller when you get to the look you think you want. You're not, you don't usually don't weigh as much because fat takes up more space. So that's why, look, with you, look how much your legs have gone down. How many pant sizes have you dropped? Like, you're just dropping pant sizes since we first started?
To a 2. Yeah.
From what? Where'd you start? 8?
I started at an 8 to 10.
Yeah, 8 to 10, yeah.
And now you're at a 2, Bailey?
I'm a 2, yeah.
Should be a 0 on stage.
Yeah!
I don't think that's even a fathomable like size for me. Actually, like that just doesn't even, that sounds
well, it's her and it's also her shape. It's who, it's her body, not your body. It's her body. I can't wear a 0 either at my best shape. Okay.
I'm like, we'll see. See, in my head, that's still again like just so far fetched. I'm like, yeah, we'll see.
And it's only because I know what her frame is like. She has a small frame. She doesn't have a big frame. She'll be down in the 112s, 114s for the show, and she's 132 right now, something like that, 133. But she has to, for what she wants, the look that she wants on stage, that's where she has to go. But see, I know that because I know how dry that looks, and I know what muscles will show on her.
I'm just trusting it. I have no idea
if she gets there. So we got to get her to where I know that muscle will show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the important part, is realizing that you can't really compare yourself to other people. And one of the things that I've learned along this journey too is the scale is not what tells me how I feel about myself. Like I have learned now that I look in the mirror and I know how I feel after I come back from working out. I know, like, it's just a different feeling, right? And it's a different way of living your life, where like I was sick for the past 2 weeks, pretty sick, and just involved with doing mom stuff. And I didn't get to the gym as much as I wanted to get to the gym. And I was eating badly because I was trying to rush from place to place, right? And it took me down this road of like realizing where my life once was and where I don't want to ever be, right? It was like a huge eye opener for me, just for living my life.
Just to get a feel for how your life used to be, and you just let it take over your life, that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when I got sick. When I couldn't move, I was like, is this what regular people feel like? I don't ever want to feel like this. Because you know how they tell you, the less you go to the gym, the less you want to go to the gym. And I felt that. I was like, I don't even want to go to the gym. And I ain't never felt that in 30 freaking years. I never felt like that.
Oh,
but I was in so much pain that it just, nothing felt, I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I was like, whoa. And that's when I started going into the pool. I couldn't work out. Gravity was too much for me, so I got into the pool and I started working out in the pool. So I always tell people, I don't care what's wrong. You could do something. You could do something. I know people with no legs, military people or whatever, that lose there in the pool, swimming, doing laps, working out, lifting, wheelchair events. So I don't care what's going on with you, man. There was a woman that used to compete. I'm pretty sure she stopped now. She was born with no arms.
Dang.
She had 3 kids, and she came out there and she did fitness,
That's
the flips and all the other stuff.
That's awesome.
I saw her at a couple of shows, and then one show I did an appearance. I'm not sure if I did appearance at both of the shows I saw her at, but one of them I think was in Arizona, and I said, "Do y'all see the woman up here with no arms? I don't want to hear anybody out there giving excuses of why they can't go to the gym or why they can't work out. Yep. If she can do that and raise 2 kids, and her kids were grown, like one of the boys was like 18, something like that. She had big kids. They ain't let her stop her. So that's what you see in bodybuilding shows. Like you see those women, their ages, 60s, 70s.
killing it. Damn, I hope I look like that when I'm in my 60s.
Most people want to look at like that right now in like their 20s and 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Golly, yeah.
Yeah, every time I see those classes, you know, I was in Seattle doing this. Guy came up to me. He was like, "I'm a big fan." I'm like, "Dude, how old are you?" He's like 75. I'm like, "What?" I'm a fan of you. What are you talking about? Like, he was 40 years older than me. He looked freaking crazy good. I'm like, man, I hope I look like that at 75. Jeez.
Honestly,
So,
I do think it is. I think it's good though that you even noticed that, like when you were sick, like, oh, well, I started, I didn't go to the gym and then I started eating worse because I think it is so just, I think, real, I should say, to have those feelings. I know for myself personally, I cannot go more than 3 days without going to the gym because that is when my slippery slope kicks in where I'm like, I'm not going to the gym. Oh, this meal won't hurt. Oh, this, one soda won't kill me. Like, no, I cannot. And I feel like whenever you notice that, like, oh, I cannot get back in these ways, I think that in itself is good because your mind and your body are basically telling you, like, wait, we don't do this. Like, we've been down this road. We don't do this.
the reason a lot of people rebound and put their weight back on is because they don't have that clock. People actually think it's a bad thing to have it. Like, if you listen to people talk, what they really recommend is to have no self-control. They basically want you to have none. They'll say, well, that's being ridiculous. Like, I went on a date with this girl and she had a scale in her bag, pulled this food scale out, zeroed out the plate,
Smartly.
put her meat on it, and I said, I had something. I go, you want to taste this? She was like, nope, this is it. And I was like, and she goes, I know you think it's weird. I go, I'm a bodybuilder. That's what we do for a living. I'm just surprised a regular person's doing it.
Good for her.
She had lost, she was a small person and she had lost, 80, 90 pounds. And she was like, I ain't putting that back on ever. It ain't never coming back on. And if this is what I got to do, and that's what I love when people say, I'm like, thank you for doing you. Because all your friends will clown you because she said, I know this is weird. No, it's not. It's not. If that's what you got to do, I support you,
And I think one thing, Idris, because I've had that conversation with you before, and, flipping the script on that, I think is good too, because yeah, your friends may say this, and that. Do you want to look like that friend?
Yeah, because I know I hang out with, when I was playing baseball, I hung out with baseball players, not with hockey players, right? When I wanted to be fit, I hung out with people who were trying to be fit because that's what I wanted to look like. So I was going to eat what they ate. I was going to do what they do. And that's just it. If your friend wants to eat that way, they can do that. But if the results are not what I want, I'm not going to do that. And don't even recommend it. First of all, if you're overweight, I don't care who you are, you're overweight. Don't ever recommend for other people to join in on what you're doing because you don't even want to be doing what you're doing. So I don't invite nobody else in. And for you people who are trying to lose and your friends are kind of giving you a hard time, have the talk like Cherie said. I'm a little harder than Cherie. I'll just be like, we ain't going to lunch no more. Peace. I ain't even going to tell them. I don't care. But you women are different. Y'all all touchy feely. So y'all can we have a group meeting?
Well, here's the crazy thing. Actually, what's weird is actually for me, it was a lot of my guy friends that were being that way because I'm a beer drinker and I loved beer. And I realized that I was just like drinking. I became like almost addicted to beer because I loved the taste of it and I just wanted it. Right. And usually it's guys that drink beer, not women. And so a lot of my friends that drink beer are guys. And so that's where I get the most.
Well, they were losing the connect. That's the only connection they really have is with you with the beer. So if you're not drinking beer, they're like, oh, we lost a friend.
I know. And it's kind of weird because like, I love all those relationships, but like you do have to set those boundaries and be okay to say no. And kind of like with what I was talking about before and just getting out of the routine of eating healthy and doing my exercise, like you were saying, Bailey, in the beginning, how it becomes habit and it becomes easier to eat healthy, right? But it also is all about habit in the reverse, right? And it becomes easier to stop going to the gym and easier to being unhealthy because it's all about those habits, right?
There's a saying, I forgot who said it, but he goes, it's easy to do and it's easy not to do. It's both of them are easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when people say, it's so hard, like, how do you eat clean? I'm like, it's easy. I just pick the food I'm supposed to eat. When you go to a restaurant, you can order this or you can order that. No one's telling you what to order. You pick whatever it is you put in your belly, right?
Yeah.
So you can either pick over here or you can pick over here. But most people, the reason that they don't, that's just the conversation in your head. You can't, what did I tell you, Bailey? I think I told you too. If you don't want to do this, you can't do it. You have to actually want to diet. You have to actually want to taste clean food. Like I think me and you had talked about this. Sometimes you just want a salad.
Yeah. I came back, I was like, I just want a salad.
I just want chewable water, right?
Like
just a clean, just goes down. You don't even know you've eaten. You're just like, sometimes you just don't want chicken, you don't want steak, you don't want nothing. You just want a salad. But yeah, you have to want to. I've had somebody say, well, why would I want to diet? And I'm like, that's the question you got to answer. I can't answer that. I can't answer that for you. I can tell you why I do. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be fat because I've never met a fat person that was happy about it. They all tell me. I see them cry in the gym, cry on my shoulder. I've seen too many tears of people who can't lose weight. So why would I'm not going there. Self-esteem goes in the shitter. Self-insecurity goes out the roof. Like your marriage gets screwed up because you don't want to have sex with your partner. There's just nothing good on that side. I don't want to drink alcohol and all that because there's nothing good on the other side of a bottle. So I'm not into that. I try to keep it simple. Like I could do this and be in a bad place possibly, or do this and be in a good place. And if you make those kind of decisions, it's way easier to do this. I just don't live that life anymore. I just don't. I don't eat that way no more. I don't party that way no more. I don't drink that way no more. If you got sick, you would do it. So don't wait till you get sick to do it. Do it before you get sick. Do it before you got diabetes or liver disease or like all the things that come with that kind of lifestyle. Stop before all those things happen. Or at least curb it before those things happen.
I saw this meme that was passed around and it was saying, it's usually the meme saying, I would rather look good than eat good, right? But there's this new one that's been going around that's like, I would rather have the foods I'd like to eat than look good, right? And here's the thing is people just don't realize how good you feel, how amazing your life can be until you've achieved it. And you feel good about yourself and you have exactly like what you were talking about, Coach Idris, like having the self-esteem, because that helps you in so many aspects of your life. Like you were saying, like with your relationship, but how many opportunities, even in your career, will that help you with? Because the better you look, people will want you to work
everywhere.
It's so stupid, but it's true. And you got to realize how much it will better your life to have that change.
But like my girlfriend, Alicia always like, so many celebrities. And I'm like, do you know half of them introduced themselves to me because they saw my big behind walking through the supermarket? A guy with 23-inch arms and a chest out to here. Like, dude, who are you? Like Terry Crews, The Rock, Arnold Palmer. Like I met all these people just sitting there and we just make eye contact and they're like, hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I talked to him for 45 minutes one day. Look at your massive legs. People just look at you like, you really did that? And they just want to talk to you. They just want to find out how. And it feels good too, especially if you can like convey, like when I met you and I was like, I could, do a lot for you. I could take you to a place you've never been before. And because you like working out, I think you'll like it. And she loves it. So it's very, I feel great doing what I do, but it wouldn't happen if I didn't do what I did.
Yeah.
And now people, well, let me, when I met Arnold Palmer, I walked into his restaurant and he had a waiter come grab me from my table and bring me over to his table to meet his family.
Wow.
And the waiter comes over, he goes, Mr. Palmer wants to meet you. And I go, he's here? Hell yeah, I want to meet him because I love golf. I was actually in his restaurant right across from where he lived, and I played golf over there a lot, but I never saw him. So he's in there with his family, a whole table, his wife, and he introduced me to everybody. He's taking pictures. He's like, you look great, man. What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Do you golf? And we just had a nice little conversation. And I went back to my chair. And then years later, I was in his restaurant again. And he tapped me on the shoulder, and I looked around. He passed away. But he was like 5'6". He was kind of short. And I go, Arnie, and I put my arm around him. And I'm like, how you doing? And I said, you probably don't remember me. I met you about 3 or 4 years ago. He goes, I do remember you. I wanted to come and say hi, see how you were doing. And that has nothing to do with him knowing me. He just saw me and came over. And so people look at you different. They just do. And
even just a simple thing, like I worked in sales, and I know that I got better sales because I kept myself at the level that I needed to keep myself at, because people see you differently and they respect you differently. When they know you have a crazy regiment in your life, they know that you have another work regiment in your life that coincides with that, right?
For Bailey, in judging bodybuilding, I think I told you this, the judges reward people who work. Like if you look on stage and you see somebody and their body fat's high, they didn't do that extra cardio. They didn't diet that hard. When you got somebody out there that fat is gone and their shape is, they don't even have to have the best look. They'll beat you just because the judges are like, that person worked, because they know how hard it is. Because most of those judges all competed. So I'm serious, when you're a pro, you don't give, y'all know this, I don't give kudos for nothing. Okay? You earn every compliment I give you. So when I give you one, take it to heart, because I don't give them that. I don't give them just to give them. If you sloughing off and messing around, you ain't gonna hear me going, nice job. I'm gonna be like, what is going on?
That's the way it should be, right?
Well, because I'm not doing you any service, acting like you're doing something you ain't doing. So the judges are the same way. So for competing, as far as that's concerned, the judges really reward people for how hard they had to work to get in that condition that they're in. That's called conditioning when your body fat's low. They will reward you for that. So it's like that in life. You want to be a big boss, look like a boss. People listen. You might not even know anything. They're gonna listen to you until they find that out. Like, wow, he looks great. 20 minutes later, he's kind of stupid. But he looks great anyway. But you're gonna get their ear until you turn them off. But you at least get their ear at the beginning. And that's true though. If you look at a person and you're impressed with them and the way they carry themselves, and they're especially a woman in her 50s, 60s, and she still looks in shape. How do y'all feel when you see that? Come on, man.
Like, damn.
Yeah.
Every time they show J-Lo, the whole world stops. My God. I'm like, well, I hope y'all know she is, besides the few surgeries she has had, she's also working her behind off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Bailey, I'm super excited for your whole journey, and I want to bring you on another time, maybe like down the road when you're
we'll talk about a workout. We'll talk about a workout. We'll talk about where you are and how you felt up to that point, and then bring some pictures in.
Oh yeah, my befores are crazy even now, but I can't imagine once I get closer too. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for this journey. I'm excited to see where you go, and I want to hear all about it, especially like when you do your competition, because hasn't really actually been like a super big interest of mine, but I don't know, seeing your journey might change my opinion about it. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you so much for coming.
We'll get her, Bailey. We'll get her.
Yeah.
Hey, we ain't getting any
4-year-old.
We ain't getting any younger.
I'm telling you, I'm like, wow. Okay.
Hey, after this birthday, you can't compete in the 30s and younger.
Damn it.
We'll change that. No, you can, but you qualify for the 40 and over.
Great.
You qualify for the 40 and over in that one birthday. Okay, let's compete this weekend before my birthday.
I know, right? Great. No, this has been fun. I love having these conversations. I mean, this is becoming such a great passion in my life, and I want it for everybody else. I want them to be able to change their lives, because they can choose to make a difference in their own lives, and it's up to them. So thank you so much, Bailey. Thank you, Coach Idris, for this awesome conversation, and I can't wait to have another one with you guys.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a little bit, Bailey, about an hour.
Sounds
Good.
good.
You guys have a great weekend. See ya.
Bye. You.
All right.
Thanks, guys, for joining us today for Fitness Friday. I hope that that was helpful. It was kind of fun to bring Bailey on and just hear a little bit about her story. We've heard a little bit about her over the past little bit, and they're trying to talk me into doing a competition. I'm not sure I want to go that far, but we'll see where my journey takes me. But hopefully this was good for you guys. If you guys are thinking about doing any competitions or just bettering your lives, take this moment right now to change your habits to be able to have a better life for yourself, because it really comes down to what you want for yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you, you guys. And even these past 2 weeks where I haven't been feeling good and I've been sick and I kind of reverted back to some of those old habits, you can see a huge difference in the way it makes you feel, in the way that you feel about yourself. And I just want you guys to be able to see that you guys can make a bigger change for yourselves. You don't have to go as far as I'm going or even how far Bailey's going, but you deserve to live your best life today. So I love you guys. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you soon.